Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of This Week at Endicott. I'm Brianna Marr.
And I'm Ray Newcomb. On Wednesday, be sure to stop by the Callahan Center to sign up for the Red Cross Blood Drive from 8 to 1 p.m. Every donor helps save a life.
From 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., take a break, bring your lunch to Library 112, and enjoy the works of Joss Whedon.
Then, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. is the annual Spring Celebration, where Endicott invites the Beverly community to join us for food, games, crafts, and a special visit from the Easter Bunny. Volunteers are needed and can contact Laurie Rowles, the Director of Community Service.
Now let's take it to sports with Jocelyn Kane and Matt Pritchard.
Hello and welcome to this week's recap on Endicott Sports. For ECTV, I'm Jocelyn Kane.
And I'm Matt Pritchard. The baseball team had an exciting weekend coming out on top during both of their doubleheaders this weekend. The Gulls beat Eastern Nazarene in both games on Friday, then beat Salve Regina both games on Sunday. After a strong week, Nick Quartro earned CCC Pitcher of the Week, but that's not all, as he was also listed on D3Baseball.com Team of the Week as the top player in his position in the country. Nice work, Nick. This Tuesday, the 31st, they play Eastern Connecticut. Then they play Wheaton, Wentworth, Nichols, and Suffolk next week.
The equestrian team competed this past weekend, and despite freezing conditions, Morgan Estenwell and Jenna Apgar qualified for Zone Finals. The Zone 1 Finals will be held Saturday, April 4th at Mount Holyoke College.
The men's lacrosse team maintains their top 10 national ranking in the latest USILA poll released this past week. They hold the number 9 spot. They play Wentworth Tuesday the 31st and Bowdoin Saturday the 4th.
The women's lacrosse team fell to Roger Williams last Wednesday 9-6, but rose up against Wesley Saturday the 28th. They play Wentworth Tuesday the 31st and number 5 Bowdoin Saturday the 4th.
The Endicott rugby teams hosted their 7th tournament this past weekend. The women competed on Saturday at the Endicott Stadium and the men on Sunday. They play at the Rugby Sevens tournament at Salve Regina on Sunday the 12th.
The softball team has been off since their spring break tournament, but will be back this week with a doubleheader against Gordon on the 1st, a doubleheader against Curry on the 2nd, and a doubleheader against Roger Williams on the 3rd.
That's it for this week's recap on Endicott Sports. Be sure to tune in next week for your favorite blue and green action. I'm Matt Pritchard.
And I'm Jocelyn Kane. Have a happy Easter, everyone.
I feel that I very often watch a lot of young people sort of meander around without any idea about why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, to want and to be ambitious and to want to be successful is not enough. That's just desire. To know what you want, to understand why you're doing it, to dedicate every breath in your body to achieve. If you feel you have something to give, if you feel that your particular talent is worth developing, is worth caring for, then there's nothing you can't achieve.
If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip?
Head over to the VPAC at 6 p.m. to hear designer and illustrator Craig Frazier discuss his career as an artist. There will be a reception following the lecture.
From 7 to 8 p.m., check out Perfecting the Personal Statement, a workshop for students considering pursuing a graduate degree. You'll learn the essentials of writing a personal statement for your graduate school application.
On Thursday, stop by the Little Theater for Honor Diaries, an international event in response to atrocities against women in the Islamic faith. This event is swipeable.
Also on Thursday, the Networking Club is hosting Networking 101 at 5:30 in the LSB Room 130, where Jamie Friedman will be discussing the basics of networking.
On Friday, head over to the Northeast Arc from 6 to 9 p.m. to volunteer and have some fun while helping those with disabilities. Transportation is provided.
Now let's find out about interfaith activities on campus with Josh Hudson.
Hi, I'm Jill Watch with ECTV, and we're talking to Reverend Josh about faith and community at Endicott College. So, Josh, what drove you to an interest in religious enlightenment?
Well, Jillian, my experience in college is the primary thing that drove me. I majored in philosophy and world religions, and that kind of sparked my interest in religions as a whole, and then got involved in some campus activities at my undergrad, and here I am doing the same thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
Okay. Did they have a big religious community there?
Yeah, they do. It's a fairly large school. It's about 12,000 students, and it was a pretty diverse population. It was in Tennessee, so obviously the bulk of the religious activity was Christian, but there was a wide array. And in the world religions department, I was able to tap into some of that as well. So.
Was there anyone in particular that got you really into religious faith and activity at school, or did you kind of find it on your own?
Yeah, I was interested in finding it on my own, but there were definitely some people who were instrumental in kind of helping develop my identity as, I guess, just a person interested in faith traditions. And I got involved with a campus ministry at University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and the pastor there and the associate pastor both kind of, I guess they took me under their wing in some sense, and really helped just develop a lot of my thoughts, and they were there to answer a lot of the questions that I had about things, as well as a lot of the professors that I had. I was able to talk to them as I was processing through things and figure out what I believed and what other people believed and how it fit kind of with everyone, really.
Okay. Could you explain a Sunday morning service routine to me?
Oh, yeah, is for like a Christian service, or what kind of what
just
kind of
a
service?
usual Sunday. Is Christian what you usually?
So me personally, I am a Christian. Now at Endicott here, the chapel is an interfaith chapel. We don't have services on Sunday morning at Endicott, so things would look a little different, and things would obviously look different depending on what tradition you're in. I mean, a Sunday morning, it's going to be primarily Christians who are worshiping Sunday morning, but different faith traditions would worship at different times on different days, and any given sort of church service would also look vastly different depending on each tradition, I guess, and each sort of denomination that you might be a part of. So that's a hard one to answer.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sure.
Would you consider yourself to be a spiritual or religious person, and how would you differentiate between the two?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like that's a question that a lot of people are asking right now, and I think there's a trend to not interested in religion, but interested in the spiritual side. So I would actually consider myself both to some extent. I would differentiate them by saying religion in general is sort of a structured historical faith tradition, whereas spiritual could be anything. It could include those, I guess, but it's also a lot of inner dialogue, inner sort of self-awareness, connection with the world around you, and kind of playing on and figuring out how you're connected with the people and with the world around you. And so for me, that's kind of the spiritual side as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't prefer one over the other?
I do. So personally, I'm a Christian, and that's the tradition that I practice. And so that is a religion, and so I would consider myself religious in that respect. But it obviously has significant spiritual dynamics with it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
How does being on a college campus affect your work?
I think a lot of the questions that college students are curious about differ from different age demographics. Maybe I think college students are just in general. I was this way, and to some extent still am. I think everyone's trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, what kind of person they want to be, what they what they want to do. And I think for me personally, a lot of my work here is geared towards helping students develop a spiritual identity. So some of the spiritual aspects that I was talking about, I think along with sort of exploring your major and job options and figuring those sorts of things out, I think developing an ethic by which you'll be guided through those jobs is a significant part of the college experience. And I think that's where the chapel comes in, as well as other leadership organizations. But
do you think college students, as opposed to ordinary people, need kind of religious guidance at this specific point in their lives?
Personally, I do, but I don't know that I would say that everyone needs a sort of religious guidance, but I think certainly some sort of ethical and moral guidance is necessary, and I think a spiritual aspect to that ethic is really important, and I think it can offer a framework by which to move forward.
That's awesome.
So.
What is the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding part would be, I think it comes in the conversations I have with students. So some of that developing identity that I talked about just a second ago with the students kind of having a framework. I think the most fulfilling part is when I can see it click with students that they do have a framework, or that they do have some sort of spiritual identity or ethical identity that can help them kind of navigate the world around them. And I think that's the best part of my job. So, yeah.
Do you think religion and spirituality has helped you as a person identify yourself?
Yeah, I think I think my faith has provided a framework that helps me understand the world in a lot of ways. How I deal with people, how I view world events, current events is sort of filtered through that framework, and so I think it has, significantly kind of impacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my last question. So thank you so much for joining us.
Great, thank you for having me.
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Thanks.
On Sunday, we hope everyone that celebrates has a wonderful Easter.
On Tuesday, stop by the LSB Auditorium at 7 p.m. for some spoken word by Kyla Lacey.
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.